When I first heard about Three Sisters, I was really hoping it was a board game version of the 90s television show Charmed featuring the Hallowell sisters. Alas, this Three Sisters from 25th Century Games is about companion planting, beans, corn, and squash. Designers Ben Pinchback and Matt Riddle combined to bring us this roll and write featuring the art of Beth Sobel, which guarantees that we'll check it out. This is a Beth Sobel Stan account. Let's dig into this one because, as Coach Beard would say, horticulture, baby. Lingering just a moment to admire Beth Sobel's work. We will jump right into the game with two double-sided stacks of tearaway sheets for our writing after our rolling. They look plenty busy, but as usual with good game design, you'll pick up what it's putting down with little issue. Similarly, the 14-page rulebook belies many options and clear instruction rather than an overly complicated rule set. Behind that, we have our board featuring the Rondell action wheel, round marker, and farmer's market rewards. Finally, a small baggie containing the game's pumpkin dice and various tokens. Of note, the box is sized perfectly with this channel if you wanted to stash a few number 2 pencils in here from your Scantron testing days. Let's get it to the table and get to gardening. The goal of the game. Up to 4 players can compete for the best hobby farm right out of the box. The winner will be the farmer who can earn the most blue ribbons after 8 rounds by planting and watering their individual gardens. Expect your first game to take an hour or so, with future forays into farming to clock in at around 45 minutes or so, depending on player count. Each round begins with the first player, denoted by whoever has the great pumpkin, Charlie Brown, rolling some number of the dice. The amount you'll use in a game is determined by taking the player count and adding 2. For our 3-player game here, we'll use 5, since that's how math works. Farmer Edith here begins the game on the golden pushpin space of the board and will move round and round as the game progresses. Arrange the rolled dice by their numbers in ascending order, and then starting with the lowest, place the dice on the starting space and keep going clockwise numerically as you go. Place Farmer Edith after all dice have been placed next to the empty space, so you'll know where to start on the next round. The pumpkin player gets to choose a single die from the rondel. They will get to perform the action listed on the rondel space, and the value on the die will correspond to a section of the player's garden where they will plant or water. It's important to note that you will get 2 separate actions on each turn. For example, I'm the first player here, and I choose to take this value 1 die from the apiary or fruit space on the rondel. The first action I will take is to plant in the 1 area of my garden. Planting gives me the ability to choose only the lowest box of any crop in that area and cross it off. If you already marked the lowest box of a crop, that box cannot be marked again by planting. It must be marked by watering, which I'll get to in a second. Second, beans can only be planted if their corresponding corn is already 2 boxes tall, so bear that in mind. The other option you have is watering, which will allow you to grow all your planted crops by 1. This is how you mark boxes vertically, but again, each of them must be planted first. The second action on your turn is given by the rondel, and since I chose apiary or fruit, I will look over at my other sheet in either the apiary or fruit sections and cross off 1 box. You always work from left to right or bottom to top, so you can't just cross off whatever box you want. Farming is serious, and we won't have anarchy here, understood? The additional rondel actions each correspond to other parts of the sheets, giving you 1 box from the shed, which will give you bonuses as you perform actions, compost and goods, which allow you to manipulate the dice on future turns and gain additional actions, and the farmer's market, where you'll be able to cultivate your perennials based on how many goods you've accumulated. Once you've taken both actions, play passes to the next player, who then chooses for themselves and takes a die for their actions. Once all players have chosen their turn, everyone will get a common turn from the lowest of the 2 dice remaining. Here, that's the 3 on the shed time action, meaning that everyone's going to get to plant or water in their 3 garden and get 1 box to cross off in their shed. Finally, everyone will get the action at the end of the round, in our case, yet another shed box, and then pass the pumpkin on the left-hand side, move the round marker to 2, and begin again. First off, let's get the easy stuff out of the way. I love Three Sisters. The design is tight, simple, and well organized. The game itself looks great on the table, and I think there's plenty of decisions to make throughout, which a roll and write needs in order to keep hitting the table over and over again. I'm especially enamored with the theme tying in nicely to the actual gameplay. It feels like you're maintaining a garden as best you can with limited resources, and then again making limited decisions on what you want to do with the remaining space and crops. You have a ton of options and no way to do them all, so you'll be able to explore differing strategies from game to game. If you've played and enjoyed Super Mega Lucky Box, then Three Sisters is a couple small steps up from there. It's nowhere near the complication of, say, Hadrian's Wall, but we're somewhere in the middle of that continuum. The sheets are well thought out, with everything cordoned off so you'll know what to look at when you need to do without missing anything. By far, the hardest part of the game is keeping track of which additional off-crossings you need to do. It's well within the realm of possibility that you'll be in the middle of doing one thing and earn a bonus to some fruit, which could trigger adding some goods, which gives you another action, and also don't forget that you've gained this pumpkin, which allows you to trigger this perennial, and that means you get to gain another fruit, and so on. For a game whose main mechanic is triggering and cascading boni, the important in those cases is to come up with a system for yourself so that you always know what you've done and what you've gained. Use the journal section of this sheet liberally. It will save you. The one thing that can be annoying about Three Sisters is the palpable downtime. Given what I just talked about, sitting around while 3 other players ping-pong around their sheets and hem and haw about what they're going to do with 3 extra actions is borderline tolerable. If your group has players who are prone to analysis paralysis, you'll want to prep them ahead of time for this one. Similarly, while I wanted to be able to play this with more than just 4 players, I understand the limitation. Now, you could add some additional dice to make it work with more, but you'll also want to keep in mind that now you're adding even more downtime between players. All that being said, if your game night all of a sudden balloons into 5 or 6 and you had your heart set on playing Three Sisters, you're not out of luck. Three Sisters combines spectacular wombo combo action with delightful table presence into a game I only wish more easily accommodated additional players. Let's go through our checklist before I give you my final thoughts. In the box, rulebook clear and non-gender pronouns. Our 14-page rulebook is easy to follow for the most part, but curiously forgoes page numbers altogether, which is something I've not seen in a long time. A long time. There are a few occasions to reference back to it during your first couple games, so make sure you keep it handy. It uses you and your pronouns throughout to refer to the player. Iconography clear. Yes. Goods and ribbons are clearly marked next to each box, and the perennial icon is distinct enough from the ribbon to be easily understood at a glance. Overall, we never had any problem understanding which box gave us which bonus. Packaging well done. For a small box game, Three Sisters keeps everything neat and clean in here. There won't be any issues at all unboxing this one for future plays. On the table, good representation. Our farmer meeple is Edith, and she's the only character depicted in the entire game. Component quality. Nice. The dice are adorable pumpkin orange and marbled, the Edith token is large and chunky, and there are plenty of double-sided sheets to get you through a ton of plays. As usual with roll and writes, however, if you absolutely adore this one, you may want to laminate a few. Replay value, high. The actual action in a turn is completely dependent on the dice, but the overall strategies aren't as varied. Still, there's lots and lots of ways to point salad, garden pun, your way to victory, and exploring all of them is great fun. Fun to lose. Yes! Using the compost to futz your way out of suboptimal rolls is great, and the most games you're going to lament the fact that your strategy didn't pan out rather than any kind of bad luck. Most plays have had my players clamoring to play again right away, which is always a good sign. I'm incredibly happy I was able to find a copy of Three Sisters at my FLGS, and if you see one at yours, you should definitely snap it up. It's a very satisfying midweight roll and write and will serve neatly as a gateway into deeper games like Hadrian's Wall. Three Sisters earns a place on my shelf, which is no small feat given that this particular genre has a ton of options. As always, I'm Nicholas, reminding you to help protect the game population. Always sleeve your cards. Hey everyone, if you liked our video, please hit that sub button and ring the bell for notifications. Check out all of our other offerings at goodluckhighfive.com, and please consider becoming a patron of the channel over at patreon.com/GLHFmagic. It helps us keep making videos, reviews, and podcasts. You can become a member for any dollar amount. We're also always looking for new games to review. You can reach me at glhfnicholas@gmail.com. You can follow me, Captain N the Game Master, at Captain NGM on Twitter and Instagram, and follow the channel at GLHF Magic. Remember, please shop at your local game store whenever possible. Until next time, I'm Nicholas, and good luck. High five.